Hi everyone! So last time I ranked all of my cream and liquid blushes. So now I decided to also rank my powder blushes. So compared to my liquid and cream blushes, I have like a humble collection of my powder blushes, and all of these are almost from the same brands, just different colors. So I'm just gonna try my best to rank them, and I am basing my ranking since they're just all from three brands, from Peripera, from Misha, and from Essence. So those are all of my powder blush brands, but I have multiple colors of their blushes. So this ranking will be based more on the color and how much I use them rather than like the brand or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna start with like the lowest, then we'll go into my top powder blushes. So the last one rather is this Missha Cotton Blush in the shade Picnic Blanket. It's a good product. Okay, let me just say that from the start, all of my powder blushes, I love them. But of course, I need to rank them. So there are just some items that I like better than the ones that are in the lower rankings. But that doesn't mean that they're crap. It's just that, you know, I have my favorites. So this is the shade Picnic Blanket, and I love the packaging of this one. It's so sleek, it's so small. However, this one is like a very, very matte blush, and it still works. I like it. I like the effect that it gives me. When I received it, I was a little bit afraid to use it because it's a bit brighter than the usual, and I like my blush to be very subtle. But lately, I've been trying more obvious blushes, especially when I'm just filming anyway. So I tend to reach for this, especially when I am going for a look that's a little bit more cute-ish rather than like more sophisticated lady. So I've been wearing this one, and also this looks like a dupe for the Dior Backstage blush, the orange one. So even though I have medium skin tone and this one is like more geared towards pale skin, this still works for me. So this one is Picnic Blanket. So you can see it's a little bit brighter than the usual blushes that I go for, but it still works for now. Yeah, I'm still loving it, and of course this is a heavy swatch. So when I apply it on the cheeks, it's not as heavy, so it's not as fluorescent, and it still works. However, this comes in last because I just don't really like corally blushes anymore. Well, I still like them from time to time, but they're no longer my favorite. And then another one is from the same line. It's just a different color. This is my Candy Shop from Misha. Again, compared to Picnic Blanket, this one is a bit more pink, and it's still bright, but it's no longer as fluorescent. It's no longer as neon as they call that Picnic Blanket. So this one is more of like a bubblegum Barbie pink, but a bit more forgiving. And then the next one will be my Peripera blush in Dusky Rose. I like this product. I've been going more towards this type of rosy colors. So you can see it's so beautiful, but it's so matte, and it's also very pigmented. So I need to be really careful when I am applying this, and when I do my makeup, I'm just so haphazard with the application. So with this one, I need to be a little bit more careful. So that's the reason why this comes in the lower bracket. But I love the color. If you like pigmented blush, or if you want something that you're gonna use bit by bit so that it will last you longer, go for Dusky Rose from Peripera. And then another one, which I am surprised that this comes in the lower end of the spectrum. This one is the Essence Satin Touch Blush in the shade Satin Coral. I love this. I love this formula. But I also like the color. It's like more of like a subtle coral rather than like beaming compared to this one. So this one is a bit more wearable. However, I just don't really reach for coral blushes anymore. As I mentioned, I only reach for them from time to time. I just prefer like dusky rose beige undertones. So this one, even though I like it, it's not like my favorite because of the color. I just don't really reach for coral tones as much. Because I find that coral tones just look too warm for my skin, and it's not really what I am going for these days. But I still wear coral blushes when I'm wearing very warm eyeshadow. And then the next one is this Missha Cotton Blush in Vintage RObe. This one is the first Misha blush that I bought, and I liked it so much. That's why I bought the other two. But this one still remains my favorite. So you can see it's almost the same as the Peripera one, but this one has a bit more mauve undertone. This one has more pink, this one has more mauve. But both are beautiful, both are matte. But I just prefer this one because it's less pigmented. It's still very pigmented, but it's a bit more forgiving than the Dusky Rose color from Peripera. So there. And then speaking of Peripera, this one is in the shade Calm Pink, and I was surprised that I prefer this over Dusky Rose, because Dusky Rose was the only Peripera blush that I was drawn into, but I bought this just to reach that free shipping. And I'm glad that I got it because I love this color. It's very pale pink, that it's almost like white based pale pink, but it works. So you can see it's that color. It's like the more muted sister of this Misha one. So you can see it's there. And I like the color that it gives me. I still prefer the color of like the Dusky Rose colors. I prefer these colors than this one, but there's just something about this like light bubblegum pink that works for my skin tone. And since it's very light, I need to build it up, so it's very foolproof. I can measure how much I put it, and it just creates like that barely there flush to my cheeks. I love it. I like it. It's very random because I never reach for these colors because again, it's too pale for my skin color, but it works. And then from my top 3 are all Essence blushes. I just love the Essence formula. It's just that this coral one is just not my favorite color. This coral one is not my favorite color. Okay, so this one is a very close match between the two. This one is the Essence matte blush in Cheer Me Up, and the blush in the shade Befitting. They're almost the same, so I couldn't really decide what goes second, what goes third, but I just decided to put this in the third place because the packaging is broken. But I like this. This one is the first Essence blush that I bought. And this one is like mauve undertone. So you can definitely see the colors that I tend to go for these days. I tend towards pinkish and mauves and dusky undertones. So I like it. It's very pigmented, but it's still buildable. That's what I like about Essence blushes. And even though it's matte, it's not flat. So this one is Cheer Me Up. And then a very, very close color is Befitting. And this comes in second because the packaging is not broken. But the color is almost the same as Cheer Me Up. I did a swatch comparison between the two before, and you can see a slight bit of difference. This one is darker. Cherry Me Up is darker, a bit more berry undertone, a bit more mauve undertone. This one is more pink, but on the cheeks they just look the same. And then my top one blush is this Essence Satin Love. I love this so much, and when I learned that Essence is discontinuing this, I did something that I thought I'll never do. I bought a backup of this blush, and I don't buy backups of makeup because makeup takes such a long time to use up, especially blushes. But I bought a backup of this one because I love it so much. And I know that there are some similar colors on the market, but I just couldn't part with it, so I bought one. And if in the future, if I regret buying that backup blush, it's okay because Essence blushes are affordable. So I did something against my morals. So it is the shade. Again, it's almost the same color family, but this one just creates like a hint of shine to my cheeks. It's not shimmery, but it just creates like that natural flush to my cheeks. So that's why it is my favorite color. But you can see almost all of my blushes, except save for these two, are all on the same undertone. Well, this one too. This one is coral, the satin coral, but it's muted, so it's acceptable. But you can see the blushes that I tend to go for, they're just pinks and Dusky Rose because these are the ones that really complement my skin. So there, that's it for my blushes. I don't have a lot. I only have 8 blushes. But I love all of this, and the only ones that I can see myself decluttering, but not anytime soon, are these two, the brighter ones. But for now, I'm still enjoying them, so I'm not gonna declutter them anytime soon. Maybe next year, but we will see. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys.